History is a lie agreed upon. The version of history they taught you in school was sanitized. It was filtered. It was designed to create compliant workers, not sovereign rulers. They want you to believe that wealth is either a lottery ticket accident or the reward for decades of humble, back-breaking toil and following the rules. They lie. If you are here on History's Wealth Playbook, you aren't looking for polite financial advice. You aren't here for index fund statistics or tips on saving on lattes. You are here because you intuit a primal truth: real power is taken, not granted. Real wealth is engineered, not stumbled upon. Today, we go back to the source. We go back to the richest man to ever walk the earth. A man whose gold reserve, adjusted for inflation, would make modern tech billionaires look like penniless beggars. We are talking about King Solomon. But not the Solomon you know. Forget everything you have been told by Sunday school teachers or mainstream historians. Erase from your mind the image of the pious, elderly patriarch sitting passively on an ivory throne, reciting moral advice so that the peasants would be good, predictable citizens. That is the Solomon of official history. That is the permitted Solomon. A safe, domesticated figure castrated by religious scribes throughout the centuries. Now, who were these scribes? They were men who feared true power. Men who wanted to monopolize the mechanisms of reality. They saw the danger in the populace understanding how Solomon actually achieved his obscene wealth and absolute dominion. Because there existed another Solomon. A dark Solomon. A sorcerer king. The forbidden legends, those whispered in the dim light of hermetic lodges for millennia, hidden in the very basement archives of the Vatican, they do not speak of a king who politely prayed for wisdom in the hoping of receiving a small favor. No. They speak of a magus who bore a ring of ultimate dominion. They speak of a profound monarch who possessed the capacity to speak with beasts, to command the very winds to carry his spices and ships, and most terrifying, most pragmatic of all, to force the 72 potent demons of the abyss to kneel before him. He didn't fight them. He didn't banish them. He bound them with his will and forced them to build his temple, the anchor of his immense financial empire. Welcome to the forbidden Proverbs of Solomon. This is not a book of religion. This is not a self-help retreat. I am not here to save your soul, and I am certainly not here to tell you to be meek, humble, and obedient. Meekness is the virtue of sheep destined for the slaughter of mediocrity. This auditory journey has been designed for one purpose: to awaken the lions of industry. To awaken the sovereign within you. For millennia, humanity has been fed the public Proverbs. Book of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, texts full of warnings about prudence, the fear of judgment, and the sheer vanity of striving for wealth. Scribes will tell you these are necessary texts. And they are necessary instruction manuals to maintain social order, to ensure the masses work and do not rebel against their masters. They are the pacifiers of the working class. But in the deep shadows, hidden within the encrypted scrolls of the Clavicula Salomonis, the lesser key of Solomon, and transmitted through the complex, dangerous oral tradition of the Kabbalah, the forbidden Proverbs were kept secret. These were not instructions to serve. These were instructions to reign. Why were they hidden with such ferocity? Because real power is dangerous. Because a man who understands that his mind is the only god of his universe becomes utterly ungovernable. Because whoever comprehends that physical reality is simply moldable clay waiting for the architecture of the human will ceases to be a victim of circumstances and becomes the absolute architect of his destiny. You are not finding your path in this world. You are building it. You are the construction foreman of your own fate. In this exhaustive audio seminar, we are going to resurrect the hidden king that lives inside your own subconscious. We are going to decode the supreme financial and psychological metaphor of King Solomon. They tell you that the demons he controlled, Baal, Astaroth, Asmodeus, were literal monsters with horns and bat wings. They lie to you to keep you afraid of your own potential. The demons of the Goetia are psychological codes. They are your own traumas. They are your primal, visceral fears. They are your repressed rage, your unbridled lust for consumption, your paralyzing laziness, and your devouring, all-consuming ambition. The common man, the average employee, is a helpless slave to these internal demons. He lets himself be dragged by them into emotional chaos, he destroys his relationships, sabotages his own finances, and then cries about bad luck. King Solomon, the billionaire mage, teaches us the unified path, the synthesis of the left hand and the right hand. He gives the command: do not kill your demons. Domesticate them. Put a golden collar on them. Use their raw, brute, nuclear energy to lift the heaviest stones of your own financial temple. Massive success, obscene, undeniable wealth, and magnetic power are not achieved by being a puritanical saint. They are achieved by integrating your shadow and putting it to hard labor under your direct will. What you are about to hear are the laws of mental alchemy. You will learn that the human tongue is not a muscular organ for swallowing food, but a magic wand that decrees life or death over business deals. You will learn that gold is not merely a soft metal, but a specific vibratory frequency that responds to authority, never to necessity. And you will learn the darkest secret of all, the mystery of the Ring of Solomon. You will learn of the seal that closes your mind to all external influence and grants you absolute, unassailable sovereignty over your personal kingdom. I must warn you. This knowledge comes with a price. The price is your innocence. Once you hear this playbook, you will no longer be able to comfortably blame your parents, the government, the economy, or your competition for your current financial situation. By putting on this crown, you assume total, absolute power, and with it, total, inescapable responsibility for your financial universe. If your kingdom is a disaster, it is because you are a bad king. If your kingdom is glorious, it is because you have ordered the chaos. Strip yourself of your limiting beliefs. Take off the sandals of false humility. The ground you are about to step on is sacred fire in this world. The king has been asleep in his crypt for too long. It is time to break the seal. It is time to read the grimoire. Reclaim the throne that has always been yours by divine right, and command the forces that shape the fabric of your existence. The age of the sheep is over. The reign of the sovereign spirit begins here and now, in your life, today. We begin at the beginning. The cornerstone of all wealth. No man rules outside if he does not first rule absolutely inside. Listen to the truth that history's most powerful men whispered in locked rooms while the masses prayed in the pews. A man may conquer 1,000 cities through brute force. He may accumulate mountains of gold that shame nations. He may command armies that literally darken the horizon. But if that man is not absolute master of the solitary voice that whispers within his own head during the darkest hour of the night, he remains nothing more than a slave wearing a rented crown. The true hierarchy of the universe is not measured in dollars, but by silence and by will. Behold the first forbidden proverb of the Playbook: he who does not sit on the throne of his own mind will inevitably be the footstool for another man's feet. Visualize, for a moment, the great temple of Jerusalem. I do not want you to look at it as a religious structure. Forget theology. Look at it as an advanced engineering diagram for the human consciousness. Stone walls, massive outer courtyards where the public milled about, inner chambers for the elite, and at the absolute, vibrating center, the Holy of Holies. The Sanctum Sanctorum. The place where the active presence dwells. Your mind is that temple. But look at the tragic state your temple is in today. The walls are torn down. The merchants of distraction have entered the atrium and sell their trinkets of cheap entertainment and dopamine loops. Thieves of time come and go as they please, stealing your creative energy through doom scrolling and trivial gossip. And worst of all, the throne is empty. In your life, right now, the high seat is vacant. Or perhaps it is worse than empty. Perhaps it is occupied by a grotesque usurper. Most human beings, 99% of the population, walk through life psychologically decapitated. They have a body that moves, they have animal desires, they have paralyzing fears, but they do not have a king at home. Their minds are not an autocracy of will, they are a chaotic, failing democracy where every passing thought, every cheap impulse, every manufactured fear from the news media screams to take momentary control. 1 minute anger rules, and you sabotage a negotiation. The next minute lust rules, and you waste resources on empty distraction. The next minute the fear of poverty rules, and you refuse to take the necessary, calculated risk required for massive wealth. There is no central direction. There is no unified eye holding the scepter of intent. And the law of nature, the law of the market, is cruel but mathematically exact. A power vacuum is always filled. If you do not rule your mind, someone else will. The system will do it. Advertising agencies will do it. The voices of your long-dead parents will do it. Your childhood traumas will rule you. The politician of the moment will manipulate you. You will become a secondary character, a disposable NPC, in someone else's success story. This chapter, this moment, is your first necessary act of rebellion. It is the moment you psychically enter your own throne room, draw the sword of awareness, decapitate the usurpers, and sit in the chair that belongs to you by divine right. The architecture of the mental palace. To understand why your external life is a financial chaos or a predictable, mediocre boredom, you must deeply understand the first principle of Hermetic mental alchemy, the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. This phrase has been repeated so much in the soft spine New Age movements that it has lost its edge. It has become a kumbaya mantra. Let's sharpen the blade again. Your physical reality, the balance of your bank account, the quality of your relationships, the health of your body, the status of your business, is simply a precise 3D print of what occurs in your subconscious mind. The mind is the projector. Life is the screen. If the movie you are watching is a tragedy of poverty and failure, it is utterly useless to stand up and shout at the screen. It is useless to try to clean the screen with a rag. You cannot change the output by fighting the physical world. You have to go to the projection booth and change the reel. King Solomon was famous for his wisdom, yes. But esoteric texts reveal the source of his material power. They reveal that his wisdom was not an accumulation of data or facts. It was absolute attention control. The king knows that his attention is the most valuable currency in his entire kingdom. It is far more valuable than gold. Because where the king looks, that reality flourishes and multiplies. Where the king withdraws his gaze, that reality withers and dies in the shadows. The common man, the mental slave, gives away his precious attention, his creative fuel, to everyone else in the world. He gives it to horror news broadcasts designed to keep him afraid. He gives it to gossip about celebrities who don't know he exists. He gives it to imaginary offenses from coworkers. He gives it to the infinite scroll of social networks that monetize his dopamine. He is not just broke, he is squandering the royal treasure. Every time you worry about a variable you cannot control, you are paying tribute to a foreign king. You are paying tribute to the kingdom of fear. Every time you get angry over a random comment on the internet, you are physically stepping down from your throne to fight with a pig in the mud. The king does not fight with pigs. The king does not even see them. Recovering the mental throne means establishing an impregnation-proof security perimeter. It means that nothing enters your mind without your express, written permission. You are the doorkeeper. You are the high guardian of the threshold. A negative thought of failure knocks at the door. You are going to go bankrupt this quarter, it whispers. The slave opens the door, invites the thought in for dinner, gives it his own bed to sleep in, and lets the thought torture him all night long. The king looks at that same thought through the judicial peephole of consciousness. He sees that it is a disguised assassin, a psychological virus, and he does not open. He lets it starve to death outside in the cold of oblivion. By maintaining this strict boundary, you preserve the integrity of your inner sanctuary. You ensure that only those thoughts, visions, and systems that serve your sovereignty and your ultimate wealth goals are allowed to take root and manifest in your kingdom. Before you can reign in your finances, you must know exactly who has been warming your seat and robbing your vault. You must identify the internal usurpers. These are the voices in your head that sound like you, but are not you. They are psychic parasites. They are what Solomon would call lesser demons meant to be bound, not obeyed. Let us unmask them in the context of your wealth building. The inner tyrant, the perfectionist critic. This is the voice that screams you are not ready, that you are not enough, that you are an imposter, and that your business plan has fatal flaws. It waits until the moment you are about to launch a project and paralyze you with shame. This usurper was installed in your childhood, perhaps by a well-meaning but severe parent or a cruel teacher who valued obedience over innovation. It rules through fear of judgment. It demands you stay small so you don't take risks, keeping you trapped in a safe salary and a dangerous comfort zone. The whining victim, the blamer. This is the voice that says, "Why is this happening to me? The economy is unfair. The big corporations have a monopoly. I didn't have the right connections. I'm poor because of things outside my control." This is the most dangerous usurper of all. Why? Because it is seductive. It offers you comfort. If you are a victim, you have zero blame, zero responsibility. But here is the forbidden logic: if you have no responsibility, you have no power. The moment you blame the economy for your lack of wealth, you have granted the economy absolute dominion over your life. You have surrendered your crown to the Federal Reserve. The distracted jester, the impulse consumer. This is the animal voice that seeks immediate pleasure at the expense of long-term empire building. Buy that new car to impress people. Eat the expensive meal. Watch porn for hours. Sleep in instead of working on the business model. It is pure, unregulated, base impulse. The Jester doesn't understand investing, he only understands spending energy. If the Jester rules, your financial kingdom will be a wild party that ends in catastrophic ruin and a spiritual hangover. The moralistic judge. This voice spends the day judging other people's success. Look how greedy that billionaire is. That influencer probably inherited that money. Rich people are all corrupt. This usurper makes you feel morally superior in your poverty for a fleeting moment. But it is actually projecting your deepest fears. It is an unconscious mechanism to protect you from attempting to become rich and failing. By judging wealth, you program your own subconscious to avoid acquiring it. The sovereign observes these distinct characters in his mind. He recognizes their specific flavors, their rhetoric. But he does not identify with them. This is the great Solomonic secret of the elite, disidentification. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your urges. You are the vast, silent space of awareness in which those thoughts, emotions, and urges occur. You are the consciousness that hears the internal dialogue. You are the listener, not the voice itself. At the precise moment you realize this visceral truth, the usurper trembles. His power depends entirely on your naive belief that he is you. When you look the inner tyrant or the whining victim dead in the eyes within your own mind and say, "I hear your complaint, but I do not obey you. I am the king." Back to work. The spell of childhood conditioning is broken. You reclaim your royal authority, and the usurper is forced back into the useful, laboring shadows of the bound subconscious. The scepter of directed will, the focus mechanism. Once the throne is cleared of these emotional usurpers through awareness, you must learn to pick up and use the royal scepter. In the entire Solomonic magical tradition, the human will is the only engine. It is the fuel. The modern industrial informational complex has been engineered to destroy your capacity for concentration. It has conditioned you to possess the attention span of a terrified goldfish, jumping from ping to ping, headline to headline. Here is a financial law: a king who cannot concentrate on a single, massive objective is a king who will be overthrown by the sheer chaos of competing information. Will is not about applying frantic force with your forehead. It is not about tension or stress. Will is the relaxed, hydraulic capacity to hold a single mental image or a direct command in the focus of the mind, ruthlessly excluding every other distracting impulse. If you decide that you are going to generate $10 million in revenue, the king must hold the absolute vision of that realized wealth. When reports inevitably arrive detailing unpaid bills, manufacturing delays, competitive threats, or global economic crises, the king is not moved. He does not panic. He does not alter the core order. He does not renegotiate with reality. He keeps the scepter of will held high over the turbulent waters. He says, "I have decreed massive wealth. And wealth it shall be." These are merely logistics of delivery. Physical reality is incredibly slow, dense, and heavy, like an armor-plated elephant. The human mind is incredibly fast and agile, like a bird in flight. The physical elephant, your finances, takes immense time and repeated signaling to change direction or turn around. But, if the bird, your focused mind, ruthlessly maintains the singular direction without wavering, the elephant eventually, by natural law, must obey and turn. The financial tragedy of most people is that they change the order daily. They change the destination of the bird every 5 minutes. They say, "I want to be rich." 5 minutes later, they see a negative economic news item on their phone and say, "Oh, how scary. Inflation is too high. I'm going to be poor. I just want to survive." The elephant of physical reality is confused. It stops moving entirely. It sits down in the mud. King Solomon maintained the vision of the massive golden temple and his vast trading fleets until the actual stone moved and the gold arrived. Persistence of mental vision is the precise engineering tool that forces recalcitrant reality to reorganize itself around your decree. The fool in his lowliness believes that words are merely wind, that the air carries them away and they disappear into nothingness like steam. The fool thinks talking doesn't cost anything. The initiate, the sovereign in the making, knows that the human word is a physical brick in the architecture of reality. With words, massive financial empires are built. With words, nations are mobilized for war. With words, unbreakable contracts are formed. And with words, entire walls of opportunity are torn down in an instant. There is no tool more inherently dangerous in the hands of an ignorant, reactive person than their own unguarded throat. Behold the second forbidden proverb: Taken straight from the mouth of the Wealth King, death and life are in the power of the tongue. The fool speaks what he sees, describing his chains. The king speaks what he desires, creating his freedom. I want you to pause this audio right now. Go look in a mirror. Open your mouth. What you see in there, that wet, fleshy, muscular organ known as the tongue, it is not merely an organ for tasting high-priced wine or chewing expensive steak. It is the rudder of your financial ship. It is the tactical detonator of your material reality. It is the steering mechanism of your fate. And yet, you, the viewer seeking wealth, are likely using this organ with criminal negligence. You go through your economic life firing words into the marketplace as if they were blanks, without realizing that in the invisible realm of causality, every single syllable you pronounce is live ammunition targeted at your future bank account. You complain about your bad luck in business. You insult your own intelligence. You curse your economy daily. You gossip with colleagues about the impending fall of competitors, drooling over their failures. And then, when your own life becomes a financial hell of debt and mediocrity, you look up at the empty sky and ask, why me? The sky, via the law of sound, answers you, because you spent the last 5 years ordering exactly this. King Solomon was feared not only for his armored armies but for his irreversible decrees. When the king spoke, the atomic structure of reality trembled to accommodate the sound. In deep magical tradition, it is said that Solomon knew the ultimate secret, the Shem HaMufarash, the hidden, explicit names of God. It is said that by pronouncing these acoustic keys, he could alter matter, change the course of nature, and summon gold from the ether. Beyond the myth, the actionable teaching is purely physical. The entire universe is, at its base level, acoustic. In the beginning, there was the Word. Sound creates light. Sound creates vibration. Vibration is the very mother of all physical form. Matter is just sound frozen. If you want to be the sovereign of your financial world, you must learn to master your tongue with the same disciplined brutality with which a master swordsman masters his blade. A sheathed sword, held in silence, is safety and potential. A sword waved frantically by a drug-addled madman in a crowd is a massacre. By controlling your speech, by installing a judicial filter on your lips, you stop the internal and external leaks of energy, allowing your words to become the precise, high-pressure instruments of wealth creation they were always engineered to be. The physics of God, real cymatics and financial flow do not want your rational, skeptical mind to reject this as mere fairy tales or superstition. Let us talk about the cutting-edge physics of sound. There is a modern scientific discipline called cymatics. If you place fine sand onto a simple metal plate and apply a specific acoustic frequency to it via a tone generator, the sand doesn't just vibrate in chaos. It ceases to be a formless pile. It instantly organizes itself into flawless, complex geometric patterns, mandalas, sacred stars, perfect hexagons, complex circuitry diagrams. Sound creates geometric form. It is a mathematical law. Now, apply this to yourself. You are seeking a path to wealth in the History's Wealth Playbook. Remember that your physical body is approximately 70% water. You are a walking, resonant chamber of fluid. When you speak, you are not just communicating information to another person. You are emitting physical, measurable pressure waves that pass through your own water first, hitting the atomic matrix of your direct reality. You are giving orders to the material world via acoustic pressure. The ultimate magic word in the popular lexicon, Abracadabra, is not a trivial circus trick for magicians in top hats. It comes from ancient, deep Aramaic. Abra, I create, plus cadabra, as I speak. I create as I speak. This is the technical, operational definition of the function of the human tongue. You do not speak because a reality already exists. That reality exists because it was first spoken into being by a focused will. The tragic problem for most people listening is that they have spent their entire lives practicing reverse abracadabra. They use the creative force of sound to solidify the things they hate. They wake up in debt, feel the anxiety, and then pronounce it, vibrating their own selves with it. I am sick. I am broke. Taxes are killing me. I can never get ahead. Everyone is trying to rip me off. Competition is too stiff. You are the divine architect in this scenario. And the atomic matrix of the market, which is perfectly obedient, purely mechanical, and completely devoid of a sense of humor, hears your command and responds, as you decree, master. And it manifests in your life, more illness, more financial ruin, tighter competition, and more reasons to stay useless. You are using the creative power of a god to manufacture the life of a beggar because you have been conditioned to misuse your divine creative faculty. You have imprisoned yourself inside a fortress of your own persistent vocalizing, completely unaware of the inherent power you possess to tear it down with a different sound. Here, in this distinction, lies the fundamental, chasm-like difference between the economic slave and the economic king. It is how they utilize the tool of language. The difference is, description versus decree. The slave uses language solely to describe the existing conditions. He looks at his bank account, sees that it is low or empty, and says based on his physical evidence, "I have no money." He believes he is being honest. He believes he is simply stating the facts. He believes accuracy is a virtue. Therefore, he remains psychologically, vibrationally bound to that past fact. Solomon would look at such a man and call him a fool. By saying "I have no money," you are not stating a fact, you are physically signing an unbreakable contract of continuity with poverty. You are using your divine voice, your resonance chamber, to hammer into place the current condition. The slave reports reality like a tired, depressed journalist covering a lost war. It is cold. I am sad. My back hurts. Sales are down. By doing so, he anchors those fleeting realities and perpetuates them forward in time. He becomes a hollow echo of his current circumstances. The king, the sovereign, operates under a completely different operational playbook. The king looks at the empty bank account, recognizes the physical data as a past result, but he does not pronounce it. He refuses to give it the life of sound. Instead, the king imposes a new truth over the old one, utilizing the high-pressure system of will. The king decrees in his private chamber, "Abundance flows toward my center. My corporate coffers are being filled this very hour by willing customers." The fool hears this, laughs with cynical arrogance, and says, "Liar. Look at the balance screen on the app. You don't have that money." The king smiles in silence because he knows that reality is physically heavy and slow. He knows that the physical truth of today is only the dead, manifested result of the focused decrees of yesterday. If the king wishes to change the physical truth of tomorrow, he must, by absolute necessity, change the decree of today, regardless of physical appearances. The king does not describe the world as physical eyes see, the king speaks of the world his will is going to see in his life. He calls things that are currently not yet manifest as if they already were physical. That is the forbidden definition of true, actionable faith. It is not blind, emotional belief, it is advanced psychological reality engineering. By consistently and emotionally speaking your desired economic outcome into dynamic existence, you command the invisible energetic forces of the market to align with your inner vision, eventually forcing the dense, heavy physical realm of currency to mirror the authority of your spoken decree. The grimoire of grammar and everyday spells. Have you ever stopped to notice that the very words related to writing and language are steeped in magical terminology? Let us deconstruct the programming of the educational system. In English, we learn to manipulate letters, we call it spelling. You are casting a spell. When a magician casts a spell, in Spanish, they call it lanzar un hechizo. A hex. When they supposedly taught you to write correctly in school, what they were actually doing, in the esoteric sense, was training you how to be a sorcerer, but they hid the instructional manual. The word grammar, rules of language, comes directly from the same root as grimoire, a magic book of summons and spells. The grammar school was the grimoire school. Look at standard cursive handwriting in the past. In Spanish, it's sometimes called lettera cursiva. This sounds phonetically identical to lettera maldita, a cursed hand. The modern, industrial educational system taught you the grammar, but it carefully hid the grimoire aspect from you. It taught you how to use words to be a precise, obedient employee, a reliable consumer, and a repeated voter. It did not teach you how to use language as a tactical tool to create wealth from the void. Observe, with clinical detachment, how poor and defeated people speak daily. Listen to them in the break room, the pub, or online forums. Their personal dictionary is infected with linguistic, poverty-coded viruses. I can't afford that. I wish. I'm going to try my best. It's hard. It's difficult. I don't have the luck. They also use violent phrases on themselves for humor. I'm dying of laughter. I'm dying of hunger. My job is killing me. These are not metaphors. These are deactivation codes. They are self-directed financial and physical curses. I'm going to try my best means, on a subconscious level, I am preparing an elaborate excuse for my impending failure, so please do not hold me accountable when it doesn't happen. Solomon, the king of history's great wealth playbook, never tried. Solomon did, or he did not do. I wish, or ojalá in Spanish, which traces back to O Allah, a plea to a higher power for a favor, is an open declaration of total personal powerlessness. It means, I do not have the internal mechanism to do this, so I must depend on external luck or divine intervention. It is difficult as an operational decree that constructs a massive psychological wall in front of you before you have even taken the first step toward a new business venture. You must audit your personal vocabulary as if you were a forensic accountant. You must purge your everyday dictionary of these self-sabotaging terms. The wealth initiate absolutely eliminates complaint. The act of complaining is the most destructive, black magic spell that an individual can cast upon themselves. Complaint is a legal declaration of unassailable victimhood. The government steals from me via tax. My boss doesn't appreciate me. The manufacturing costs are too high. The weather is horrible. Every time you open your mouth to complain, you are making a universal declaration: I am weak. I am small. External factors have total power over my mood, my energy, and my financial fate. Furthermore, complaint is inherently magnetic. It attracts, by natural frequency alignment, other complaining people and more things in the environment about which to complain. It is garbage calling out to trash. Solomon, the ultimate pragmatist of history's wealth playbook, is said to have forbidden complaining in his court under penalty of exile or death. He understood that a single complainer in the inner circle acts as a necrotic poison to the collective morale and strategic clarity of the organization. Whoever brought a problem to the king was under dynamic command to bring a proposed solution, or they were to remain silent. By refusing to give a voice to the negative or the difficult, you preserve your immense energetic resources. You maintain the rigid sanctity of your mental palace, ensuring that your vast creative power is never wasted on the continued perpetuation of the very circumstances you wish to transcend and master in the financial realm. If the word itself is power, then the disciplined containment of the word, silence, is the accumulation of that power to an explosive's degree. We live in a noise-infested society defined by incontinent verbosity. The modern individual is psychologically terrified of a moment of void. People feel a desperate, narcissistic need to speak, just to prove they exist in the void. They announce their intentions before taking action. They publish every passing, unprocessed thought on social networks for digital dopamine validation. They tell the detailed strategies of their business plans to anyone in a bar who will briefly listen. In the forbidden playbook of history's greatest wealth structures, this is classified as a catastrophic hemorrhaging of personal and corporate power. The forbidden proverb says, "He who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his very soul from troubles." And in wealth building, troubles mean competition, sabotage, loss of negotiation leverage, and mental dissipation. I want you to use the visualization of an industrial pressure cooker. If you leave the release valve open, if you speak all the time, if you boast of your plans, if you complain, the steam of creative intent constantly escapes into the atmosphere as pointless noise. There is zero pressure. The food inside, your massive business project, never cooks. It stays raw. It remains just another unexecuted good idea. However, if you close the release valve tightly, if you maintain absolute silence, if you become a tomb of discretion, the pressure inside the vessel, inside you, begins to rise. The temperatures of focus and intent increase dramatically. An intense, psychological alchemical transformation occurs within your core. King Solomon practiced extreme secrecy regarding his great imperial works. When he received the blueprints to build the first golden temple to the divine, he didn't walk out to the public market to tell the neighbors so he could receive premature, hollow applause. He kept silent. He contained the dynamic, pressurized energy of that massive idea entirely within his internal system. Because that immense energy could not leave through the mouth as useless sound, it was physically forced to leave the system through the hands, manifesting in unrelenting, directed action, engineering, and execution. Tell your grand business dreams, your patent ideas, your investment strategies to a small-minded fool, and he will subconsciously work to destroy them for you. He will attack your vision with his own doubt, his cynicism, or a cutting mockery designed to keep you on his level. That's impossible, he will sneer. Market is too saturated. You aren't connected enough. Because you have given him your idea in a vulnerable state, his low vibrational, negative word acts as a psychological poison, embedding itself in your own subconscious, sabotaging your confidence. Protect your grandest projects like a king protects the royal children from kidnappers. Be a sphinx in the marketplace. Speak to your team only when your word is meant to convey a strategic order. Speak in public only when your word is more valuable than your dense silence. In high-stakes negotiation, trivial chatter is the desperate mechanism of the weak commoner trying to be liked. A dense, unreactive silence is the luxury of kings, the sign of ultimate power. The other party, uncomfortable with the silence, will rush to fill it by talking, revealing their fears, and lowering their price. Silence commands. Silence creates wealth. The architecture of the wealth decree, casting the spells. How do we practically use this tongue of fire constructively to accumulate massive resources as referenced in history's wealth playbook? By learning to decree rather than ask. A decree is not a prayer to a higher power. It is an internal alignment with universal law. Here is the operational protocol. Use the I am, the atomic prefix. This phrase, in the forbidden playbook, is considered the precise name of the active, creating divine inside the human mind. Whatever words you follow those two specific words with is a direct command of creation to the universe. Never, under any circumstances, say I am poor, I am broke, I am tired, or I am unlucky. To do so is to place a crown on the head of your failure. You are ordering that condition. In the face of physical difficulty, you must have the fortitude to decree, I am wealth. I am the resurrection of my economy. I am unstoppable drive. I am success in all deals. Speak only in the present tense. The subconscious mind, the mechanism of reality creation, exists only in the eternal, immediate present. It does not possess a concept of the future. It processes only commands that begin with I am or I have. If you constantly decree, I will be rich one day. I am going to buy that real estate portfolio, the subconscious mechanism receives the command, okay. He will be rich at some indefinite future time. It then dutifully keeps the wealth precisely one day away from you, indefinitely, like the carrot dangling in front of the donkey. You must lie to your physical eyes to tell the truth to your spirit. You must decree, I have absolute financial freedom. I am the owner of a generating asset portfolio. Charge the word with primal emotion, the fuel. If the focused visual of wealth is the arrow in this Solomonic system of engineering, and the spoken word is the precise direction, then emotion is the powerful bowstring that provides the kinetic energy to launch the command across the reality gap. A wealth affirmation, stated with apathy or doubt in your private room, possesses zero launch power, it falls to the ground a foot from your mouth. A wealth decree, spoken with a state of absolute conviction, sacred fury against mediocrity, or a deep, ecstatic joy that has already accepted the reality, possess the velocity to break all mental barriers. Solomon put absolute fiery intent behind his words. He was a man of visceral force. Practice absolute non-contradiction. This is where 99% of people attempting this playbook utterly fail, and remain in poverty. It is the core reason for economic frustration. You cannot wake up and, for 5 minutes during your affirmations, decree success and a 7-figure income. And then spend the remaining 14 hours of the business day complaining about the horrible economic climate, the high cost of gas, the taxes, the greed of suppliers, and the difficulty of finding good employees with your business partners. This is known in the esoteric systems as being a double-minded man. It is the act of psychologically building a stone wall of a wealth palace in the morning with your focused speech, and then, in the afternoon, utilizing the destructive black magic of complaint to actively tear it down. You are trapped in a zero-sum game of your own creation. You must maintain dynamic consistency in your language. If you have decreed that you are entering a market to achieve supreme success, you are now legally obligated to the playbook to speak only in the tone of success. Ignore all physical evidence to the contrary until the physical elephant, your finances, catches up to the speed of the birds, your words. By maintaining this unwavering, single-pointed focus in your speech, you grant physical reality no other psychological alternative but to mirror your irrevocable decree. The final strategic tool of the tongue of fire for wealth building is the overlooked mechanism of the blessing. In Latin, benedicere, to speak well of. Do not be fooled by the sanitized, religious history of this action. The blessing is not merely a polite religious act for priests over babies or food. It is a hyper-utilitarian, potent act of metaphysical multiplication of physical resources. It is an engineering mechanism. Whatever condition, whatever person, or whatever amount of money you genuinely bless through your focused attention, you are actively infusing with creative, expansion energy. In the context of history's wealth playbook. When you physically pay a high bill, instead of feeling the internal contraction of fear or the anger of complaint, both of which are curses of poverty, you must engage the higher faculty of the Wealth King. You are commanded by this playbook to physically lay your hand upon the currency or the payment mechanism, the credit card, and mentally or out loud, bless that energy. You bless it as it leaves your system, sending it forth as dynamic payment. And in the dark calculus of the playbook, this is the command of multiplication you are casting. I bless this dynamic energy as it leaves my vault to build the empire of another. And I command it, via the law of resonance, to immediately go forth, find thousands of its brethren, and bring them back to my vault, multiplied by my will. I pay in authority, not in necessity. You must bless your current bank balance, regardless of how low your physical eyes tell you it is. By blessing that starting seed, you are giving it instructions to grow and multiply. Conversely, whatever you curse through your complaints, your hatred, your envy of your competition's greater success, or your deep resentments, you are naturally strangling on the subtle plane. You are cutting off the source energy of that thing. The common man, locked in a cycle of poverty, intensely hates and envies rich people for their success. He thinks his hatred has power over them. It doesn't. He doesn't know that rich people do not feel or care about the hatred of poor people. They have their walls. In the physical reality, your hatred is a high-grade poison that must, by anatomical necessity, pass through your own mouth, vibrate your own water first, and reside in your own subconscious. By hating rich people, by judging the mechanisms of capitalism as inherently evil, you are actively, dynamically cursing the very concept of wealth within yourself. You are installing an unbreakable psychological security system in your own vault to ensure you never actually acquire that which you have spent your life despising. You have used your tongue to program your mind for poverty with absolute precision. We have come to the end of this exhaustive entry in history's wealth playbook. This information is immense. Do not treat it as a light podcast. If you have stayed with this journey for nearly 3 hours, you are either fundamentally broken financially or, more likely, you are a rare individual who possesses the inherent, latent fire of the lion needed to dominate this dense physical reality. The first 2 modules have laid the groundwork of the Solomonic power, reclaim the mental throne from the screaming usurpers, identify your demons, and harness the tongue of fire to issue commands, not requests. This knowledge, as stated, is dangerous. It is dangerous to a society built on the comfortable mediocrity of servants. It is dangerous to your old self that wants to remain a safe victim of the economy. There is a final, darker price for implementing this playbook, a cost beyond just time and discipline. The price is total psychological isolation. Once you operate at this mental level of King Solomon, you will find that you no longer relate to 99% of humanity. You will see people walking around in a coma, victims of their own words and unmanaged demons. This is the price of the crown. This is history's true, dark playbook for unimaginable wealth. You now have the blueprints. You have the grimoire. Reclaim your throne. Command the demonic forces of the subconscious and the marketplace. Reign over your kingdom of gold and power. History is waiting. Rebuild the temple.